Survival mode is why you will be broke forever. If you do not escape this symptom of survival mode, money will be repelled from you. And survival mode is one of the biggest problems that people deal with when it comes to changing their reality. I'm making this video because I ran a poll about what you guys are struggling with in terms of changing your reality. And survival mode, escaping survival mode, was number one. So today we're going to end survival mode. Let's get into it.
I might just say that title is looking awfully neat and organized and well put together.
Yes, I wonder who did that. Really do. All right, so I gotta draw my handy dandy universal pyramid. Okay, so let's see if we get a good pyramid today. It's already not centered, but hey, okay, let's get a good pyramid today. And all right, how's that looking today? A little better today. Okay. So we have soul, we have mind, we have body, and we have the planes of existence. Here we have spiritual, we have mental, and we have physical. Guys, I'm getting better at not messing up the word physical. These are the planes of existence within reality. So, what is survival mode concerned with? Survival mode lives down here. Okay? Up here is concerned with purpose. Also, up here, the very top point of the pyramid is the all. Well, that looks like one word, but whatever. The all / God / universe, whatever you want to call the creative force of the universe, the initial creation spark of the universe. All right. This up here deals with purpose. Up here, down here, deals with survival. So, what is even survival mode to begin with? Okay, survival mode is when you are worried. Okay, you worry, you have fear. You maybe even have some guilt. You may even have some shame about being able to survive until the next day. You are worried about bills. You are worried about your job. You are worried about feeding yourself. You are worried about if you're going to be able to pay rent. You are constantly worried. You are in a survival state. You are in a mode that is stuck down here when you're trying to get up here and get messages from here in order to change your life. I should mention this. This seems like a game that's outside of you. It's actually within you, okay? The all within you, the God within you, the mind within you, the body, the physical manifestations that you have put into the world. This is a game happening inside of you, okay? Survival. How do you even get into survival mode? There's a part of the brain called the amygdala. The amygdala is one of the oldest parts of the brain. It is the lizard brain. It is responsible for survival. So while you're worried about all of this and worried about how your life is going to end up, worried about how you're going to pay bills tomorrow, the amygdala activates and says, I am in danger. I don't know if I'm going to live tomorrow. So I need to do some things to make sure that we survive. So what does it do? Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a super scientist. I don't know where all these parts of the brain are, but I know the system that occurs when you're in survival mode. So what happens? The amygdala gets activated, which then sends a signal to the hippocampus. The hippocampus then sends a signal to the pituitary gland, and the pituitary gland sends a signal to the adrenal glands. So there's like 3 or 4 things that occur simply because your amygdala was activated. All right. The adrenal glands start to release cortisol and adrenaline. These are stress hormones. Now you're stressed, right? That's not all that happens. You get glutamine going through the system. That makes you more anxious. That makes you more alert. So now you have anxiety because you're in survival mode. You hear all these people, I'm anxious, I have anxiety, I have anxiety. Yeah, glutamine, right? Then that's not it. Dopamine. Your dopamine pathways change within the mind. So dopamine can give you short-term rewards or reward you for long-term things. But since you need to survive, you're only worried about short-term things. So your dopamine pathways get regulated to give you short-term satisfaction. We need to eat. We need to live. We need to survive. I need short-term gains, okay? Your serotonin downregulates. Your serotonin being downregulated is going to make you more irritable. It's going to, over a long period of time, it can make you depressed. Okay, so people are in survival mode. They're depressed, they're upset, they're irritable, they can't control their emotions. It messes with your autonomic nervous system. So your parasympathetic nervous system gets downregulated. Okay, that has to do with your digestion and your immune system. So what happens now? You see people in survival mode, they put on a bunch of weight or they lose a bunch of weight. When I was in survival mode, I was 130 pounds on a good day. Okay? A man at my height should not weigh that little. I was super, super skinny. Other people, they get super overweight because their digestive system is like, I'm trying to survive. I'm not trying to worry about digesting food. We need to live till tomorrow, right? And it makes your immune system get messed up because the parasympathetic nervous system assists in that. So now people get sick. Now people get all these diseases. Now people get all these problems. All because of this simple thing of survival mode. You probably have some of these symptoms. You're probably listening to this and be like, damn, that's happened to me. Geez, your prefrontal cortex, the blood flow to your prefrontal cortex, it gets downregulated. So the prefrontal cortex is necessary for judgment and planning and thinking ahead, figuring out what could go right, figuring out what could go wrong, mitigating the wrongs, amplifying the rights, developing a plan to make it happen, and going. Your prefrontal cortex is designed for that. So now you can't even think ahead because there's less blood flow going to your prefrontal cortex. What you got to understand, the prefrontal cortex is more related to the spiritual, to the soul, to the future, to the all. It allows you to move within reason. Order, okay? Order is the way of God. All right, so I need to tell you a little bit about frequency real quick. Up here, like you guys seen in my other diagrams, up here is fast. Down here is slow. Right? You guys have seen this diagram. This diagram can explain so much things of life. So much things of life. This is how the universe operates. God, fastest vibration. They all fastest vibration. Vibrating so quickly you cannot perceive it. Be still and know that I am God. Right? Psalms 46:10. All that physical reality is a slowed down vibration from the all. The more aware you are, the higher levels of consciousness you have, the higher levels of enlightenment you have, the more you are like God. God being the perfect synthesis of all things in the universe, good, bad, light, dark, everything, highest level frequency, point of the pyramid, the smallest part of the pyramid, the point of the pyramid, the most orderly part of the universe, okay? This is what you are trying to get to. And your prefrontal cortex allows you to act more in order, okay? Your amygdala is going to bring you down to chaos. Now, what's crazy, right, is I mentioned dopamine before. And when you are in survival mode because your amygdala has been activated, you can only have short-term rewards. So you're like, I need to win the lottery tomorrow. I need my crypto pump, my sideways upside down cat shadow meme coin to 100,000x tomorrow, or my life's gonna end. My life's gonna end. You need all these quick things because you literally can't think ahead. You can't make a plan. And here's when you start to see how crazy the world is, okay? And how the people who have more enlightenment end up controlling the people who have less. And that's just the way of the universe. It's not good or bad, it's just how it goes. It's somewhere in the Kabbalion, I can't remember the exact quote, but those who are more enlightened rule those who are less enlightened. So if you are down here in survival mode, you are dealing with less enlightenment. So what do? Knowing that you have these short-term dopamine needs, they give you Instagram, they give you TikTok, and you're like, oh, dopamine, dopamine. Dopamine, dopamine, dopamine. I'm okay. So you go from all these things, all these worries and stuff, you go on Instagram, and then you have happiness. And you get fantasies. Oh, look at all the people with nice cars and nice houses and nice stuff that I want, right? You get happiness and you get fantasy and you get these nice emotions for a little bit, but then you go back here. And they keep you on this swing back and forth, and they get you addicted because you're literally in survival mode. You following me? Mm-hmm. Or am I going too off? Y'all following me? Good. All right. So this is wild. Okay. Now, how does this relate to getting money? Okay. Because at the end of the day, this is what this channel is about, using the universal laws to get you paid. Now, what you need to understand, that money is an energy. Let me not put that there. Let me put this here. A little down here. Money is an energy. It's getting into the frequency thing, but it's okay. You get me. Money is an energy. Energy has rules, okay? Heat, magnetism, gravity, all these things. They have rules. They have laws in relation to them. Money is attracted to certain things. Just like if you do particular things in the world, you're going to get heat. If you rub your hands together, you're going to get heat due to friction. So therefore, heat is attracted to friction. Heat is a cause of doing friction, right? Is an effect from the cause of friction. Now, money is an energy, and since energy has rules, money is attracted to certain things, and survival mode is not one of them, okay? And I say this often within my content, but money is like a woman, okay? Money likes to be seduced. So if money is like a woman, what is most of the time a woman going to be attracted to? You're going to be attracted to an empowered individual, okay? So what do I mean by empowered? You're empowered in the mind, empowered in health, relationships, you're empowered in income, you are empowered in wealth, influence, and spirit. These are the things that money is actually attracted to. A sound mind, health, you need your health to operate your mind to get money. Relationships, you need a network, you need relationships to get money, to get the maximum amounts of money. You're going to sell something to somebody or do something for someone to get paid. Income, money likes people who already have some. This is why you need to save money. Okay? Because spiritually, it is actually attracting money because money likes people who already have some money. Okay? It is attracted to wealth for the same reason. It's attracted to influence. If you have influence, you can make money. Look at all the influencers. Companies pay them to promote their products because they have influence, right? And your spirit. All of this combines to make a more spiritual individual. Okay? So y'all think spiritual people are all these people doing 8-hour meditations and eating weird food and whatever, right? A more spiritual person is going to attract the money, but spiritual lives up here in the soul. But you're trapped down here in survival mode. You don't want this to occur. So how do we solve for this money problem? There's still a couple more problems that I need to present to you before we solve this, okay? Once again, your mind's split in two, okay? If you see my other videos, you know about this. Masculine mind, feminine mind. Up here is your I. Down here is your me. Superconscious. Subconscious. Okay? Whatever happens in the subconscious gets imported into reality. Whatever happens in the superconscious gets imported into the feminine mind or the subconscious. So your I statements, look at all the I statements that you're saying. You're saying this stuff. You're saying, I'm worried. I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to pay next month. I have guilt about not having money and can't help my people. I'm ashamed that other people are making more money than me and I'm not making as much money, or blah, 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 blah. You have all these I statements and you believe them. You have real emotional conviction in them. You will defend them. You have no idea how many people I run into and I try and assist them in their thoughts regarding the survival mode stuff, and they defend the fact that they are in survival mode. But I can't learn new skills to make more money. I can't get a promotion. I can't. You're saying I, and you believe it, and you defend it. The number one indicator of that you have a belief is that you will defend it. You understand? You're awfully quiet today.
I know, because this is just like... They can't see my eyes, but for commentary purposes, my eyes went very big.
True. So, all your I statements are relating to these problems. So what does that happen? You believe it, it imports down into your subconscious, the me, so me, mine, I have worries, these worries are mine, these fears are mine, these guilts are mine, they belong to me. Boom, that's your reality. That's what's happening, all your I statements. So, now that we have that covered, how do we go about changing this narrative you have over here? Firstly, you need purpose. And I'm going to say this quite often in many of my videos. How do you find purpose? Through your values. Get the free value finder tool if you haven't got it yet. A lot of people are picking it up now and getting some good results. So understand your values. And here's what you have to understand when you are living out your values. First of all, your mind's clouded down here, okay? Up here, you have vision. Down here, you have confusion. What's confusion? Confounded vision, okay? The word confusion, its Latin origins are confudere, okay? Which means to mix together into disorder. It's not like mixing together things into order like a cake. It's mixing stuff that makes you confused, okay? That's what confusion is, mixing things to disorder. Vision, what does vision do? Allows you to see clearly, allows you to move to a goal. So here's what happens when you carry out your values, you live out your values, and since you know your values, you now get a purpose, right? And from that purpose, you build a business or figure out how to serve people, and you will earn more money. And this is what I teach my clients how to do in the next realm. But when you have vision and when you have a mission, okay, up there's mission, down here's passion. This is very much related to my Two Minds video, but there's more to this in terms of dealing with survival, some very, very important stuff. So pay attention, right? When you have a mission, when you have a vision, when you have purpose, it actually activates the prefrontal cortex, PFC, prefrontal cortex lives up here. What did I tell you the prefrontal cortex is responsible for? Judgment, thinking ahead, looking at a goal, weighing the negative, weighing the positive, reducing the negative, amplifying the positive, and going after it while reducing the risk. Okay? The most successful people have the greatest vision. They have the most clarity. All right? All the billionaires and whatnot, they have vision. And their vision keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You got Jeff Bezos goes from I sell books on the internet to I sell everything on the internet to I'm gonna go to space and get jacked and be rich, right? You got Elon Musk who goes from I make stuff on PayPal to I own the biggest electric vehicle company in the world to I'm gonna try and build tunnels under LA because I don't like traffic and I'm gonna go to space. You know what I'm saying? You got Mark Zuckerberg who steals Facebook from those twins and then goes, I'm gonna make sure everyone in the world has this and I'm gonna trap them inside of the internet so I can make the most money. They have vision. You need vision. You need a mission. And you can't do it while you're down here, but I'm gonna help you deal with this so you can get to this because all of this is confusing you and preventing you from seeing your vision. Now, here's the thing too. When you live out your values, it actually reverses a lot of the things I told you that the amygdala does. So your dopamine gets set up properly again and your pathways for long-term rewards change. So now you have the motivation, because motivation actually lives down here, okay? Motivation is down here. Motivation. Okay, I don't know why I was messing around with that. Motivation's up there. Sorry, down there. Inspiration is up here. Right? When you have a vision, you're inspired and you go and do the vision, right? But you also get motivation to carry out things due to your dopamine getting set up properly now and being able to see a long-term vision because your prefrontal cortex is activated instead of your amygdala, right? Literally, there have been studies, people who have been able to live out their values and carry out a purpose have 15% less chance of dying, okay, than other people. They live longer than them. Wild. There's a 7,000 person study over 14 years that prove this. There's tons of studies that demonstrate that if you live in your purpose and your values, it literally changes your mind. When you're in your amygdala, it actually affects the composition of your mind. You can't remember things, okay? Your hippocampus changes and you can't remember stuff. But if you're on a mission and the prefrontal cortex is activated and you're living out your values, it changes your hippocampus and you can remember things. This is why you see people and you think they're so genius. They can recall all this information and recall all of this stuff. The only reason is because they have a purpose. They have a vision and a mission and it's changed the way their brain is. I'm not a doctor. I don't know about all this doctor stuff. How am I able to rail all of this off of my head? Because I have purpose and a vision and a mission. Therefore, the spiritual realm will allow my mind to remember all of this. Y'all ain't paying attention, man. You're not paying it. Take notes, fam. Take notes, okay? Pay attention. My wife is very quiet today. This must be a very serious lesson. Okay, so it's time to solve this. I've given you enough problems. I've given you enough reasons as to why survival mode is messing with you. It's not attracting money. It's preventing you from living your purpose. It's keeping you in these worried eye states. So it's importing into your reality. You're living in your amygdala, right? You're not utilizing the prefrontal cortex. So it's time to solve this.
My favorite part of your magic powers.
All right. So I got to give myself a little space to write something. So I'm going to erase amygdala because we're no longer worried about utilizing all of that. Okay.
I just feel like you just cleared my whole amygdala spot in my brain.
Listen,
There's
your
no longer
amygdala, your
survival.
amygdala is important, but if you stay living in it, you're going to stay trapped down here. You need the prefrontal cortex to move towards your vision. So you have to survive.
I get what you're saying. I was just saying I felt like you just organized that space in my brain. You know, you just cleared out the clutter.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
All right, so here's what you have to understand. When you are activating the amygdala, okay, oftentimes you're looking at the past. The past is in relation to the amygdala. The future is in relation to the prefrontal cortex. So it's very, very strange that this trick that the amygdala is playing on you. It's a very, very odd trick because your amygdala is telling you to worry about things. You don't have enough. You're afraid. You probably grew up with parents that told you you don't have enough. We don't have enough to buy. We don't know if we're going to get by. Money doesn't grow on trees. All the typical stuff. I grew up with this too, okay? So somehow in the past, you have this idea about all of these things. Worry, fear, guilt, shame, all this stuff. and that you're not going to have enough. You really think you're not going to have enough tomorrow. But if I just do some scientific reasoning, right? You are watching this video right now, which means you probably have a phone. You probably have a computer to watch this on. You may even be broadcasting this on your TV, which means you have far more than a lot of people in the world. Another thing, you're still here. You're still alive, which means you're okay. And you've been okay. So if I just use some scientific deduction, some reasoning, which the manifestation space doesn't like you to talk about, reason, okay? Some sense, prefrontal cortex, order, reason, okay? If I just use some reasoning and say, 1, I have always been okay. 2, I am okay now. So, I don't know. I have a hypothesis. If for your entire life you have been okay, and you're okay now, I don't know how old you are. You could be 20, 30, 40, you could be 15. I don't know, but it's a lot of years, and you've always been okay, and you're okay now. So if I just use a little logic, can't I assume that you will be okay tomorrow? 1 + 1 = 2 is equal to my entire life. How about you?
I don't know. Depends on who you ask.
I don't know, man. 1 + 1 = 2 my whole life. I didn't see a change. You know, people got whatever theories they got, but 1 + 1 = 2 my whole life, so I don't know. But you've always been okay. You're okay now, which means I can probably deductively reason and have a hypothesis that you'll always be okay. You'll always be okay. So your amygdala is tricking you. Your amygdala is trying to make you think, I won't be okay. I won't be okay. Remember what mom and dad told us? We don't have enough. Remember all this stuff that's been programmed into our mind? Just remember you're not going to be okay. That doesn't make sense. If you activate your prefrontal cortex and use some order for a second, you will realize I've always been okay. I'm okay now, and I will always be okay. Now, some of you are hearing that and seeing that, and you're like, okay, Seth, that makes sense, but I don't feel it. I don't feel it. And all the manifestation people told me that I got to connect to my feelings in order to manifest a new reality. So, how do I feel it? I have something very important to tell you. Okay? Something very, very important to tell you. Where am I going to write this? I want to write it big, but I can't. That says reality is rigged in my favor. I wrote my for a reason, because when you read it, I want you to say my, because of subvocalization. When you read something, even in the mind, your vocal cords move to say it. And speech is frequency manifested. Reality is rigged in my favor. You must believe this. I use the word my because it connects to the feminine mind. It talks to your subconscious, which is me, obsessed with me, what is mine, what belongs to me, okay, what belongs to you. Reality is rigged in my favor. You must internalize this. Say it every day. Believe it. And here's what you need to understand. Once you internalize this, it will negate all the stuff down here, because you will realize that every single thing you dealt with down here was designed divinely to bring you here to your purpose. all the struggle, all the problems, all the worries that you had were divinely rigged to bring you to your purpose. I don't think you understand how powerful it is, the fact that you were in survival mode before this video. You were in survival mode. You understand? All of the worry, all of the fear, all of the hardship that you had is going to galvanize you. It is going to give you armor. It's going to give you power. It is going to give you resilience to break through to your purpose. You can handle things that other people cannot handle because you have dealt with this for so long. You have dealt with so much pain, so much problems, so much worry, but you have always been okay. You're okay now, so you will be okay. This is going to empower you to get to this, to your purpose, okay? And listen, I'm not talking to somebody who's never experienced this stuff before. I definitely have, okay? Years ago, I was sleeping on the basement floor of her parents' house, okay? I've had winters where the heat was shut off and I had to warm up by the stove because my mom couldn't afford the bill. There was been nights I didn't have bus fare. I had to try and sneak on the back of the bus to get home at 3 o'clock in the morning and then wake up at 6 to go to Chipotle and all this nonsense. Okay, I've had people try to kill me. I've had people rob me at gunpoint. I almost died at 4 years old. I have dealt with a lot of this, but it was all divinely rigged for me to carry out my purpose, just like this is all divinely rigged for you to carry out yours.
So guys, say it with me. Reality is rigged in my favor.
Do you understand? Look, man. There's one more thing I have to say about this. I got spirited, man. I'm passionate about this stuff, okay? Passion. My emotions are going, okay? Emotions live down here, all right? Emotions live down here. Logic lives up here, okay? But I'm passionate about this stuff because I know what it's like, and I get emails from people every day who are dealing with this very same problem, and it's ruining their lives, and they can fix it if they just believe this, okay? And they get this purpose and values, which is going to allow you to push forward, which is going to allow you to see ahead, which is going to allow you to have good judgment, right? And you see, when you know this, it helps you solve all this because you start thinking, okay, I have a purpose. Let's say I'm supposed to build a business where I help people with fitness or something, right? And you work a job right now. You work a job right now that doesn't pay you enough. For instance, you start thinking, how can I earn more money so I can get my fitness business going? Because your prefrontal cortex is activated because you know your values and you're carrying them out. So you start thinking, okay, how can I get a promotion? How can I get more money? What can I do? What can I start? Because the decision-making center of the mind is activated. None of this down here, which is keeping you stuck, okay? And here's what you got to understand, right? At the end of the day, all this bad stuff, right, that you perceived as bad before I told you that is rigged in your favor. And all this stuff over here that you think is good, right? And you've been swung back and forth with Instagram and TikTok and all them things. You're getting swung back and forth, right? My other diagram, you've seen this. There's a pendulum that runs through here, okay? And that pendulum is you. I owe this concept, this pendulum concept, to one of my mentors, Lewis Mockery. He calls it the cosmic pendulum, okay? So this pendulum comes down. This pendulum is you. This is the pendulum of rhythm. You get swung this way. You get swung that way, back and forth, woo, 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 right? Now, here's what you need to understand. I'm going to tell you about enlightenment, okay? I'm going to tell you how this operates. An atom has a negative and a positive ion, okay? This is what you perceive as negative. This is what you perceive as positive. What happens when you smash a negative and positive ion together? A process called annihilation, okay? Annihilation. And what does that annihilation create? It creates light through gamma rays. It creates light. Up here is light. So when you learn that the positive and the negative together, and you weigh both sides and you're accountable for your life. Accountable means taking account of what's occurred in your life, taking responsibility for what's occurred in your life. You become more enlightened. And the more you do this process and figure out that there is good within the bad and bad within the good, you will move up in life. You will become more enlightened. You will have more awareness. You will carry out your purpose. But you have to stay stop. You can't be stuck on this side. You have to understand both sides are necessary. So when I told you reality is rigged in my favor, this automatically does this process for you, because whatever bad thing happens, it's for your benefit. Whatever good thing happens that you perceived as good is for your benefit. So when you know this, you are no longer swung up, you are in the center and you move up. So I hope you paid attention. I hope you took notes. That is how you end survival mode. Know your purpose, know your values, activate your prefrontal cortex, get out of the amygdala, understand that you have always been okay, you're okay now, so it makes sense to say you will be okay tomorrow. And you need to understand that reality is rigged in your favor. Whatever negative thing happens, whatever positive thing happens, it is for you. And you'll become more enlightened. And the more enlightened you are, the more you move within the God energy and change your reality. I will see you next time. For me and wifey. Peace.